Good evening. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Man Cave. It's that time of week once again, and we've got Brother Jeff and Tanya. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Oh,
And
boy.
Lily. Hey.
And Lily. And Lily. Lily's feeling a lot better these days, so that's always good. Chip in frozen Florida. Jeff was complaining about some cold weather down in Florida this week, Tanya.
I wasn't complaining.
Really?
I love cold weather.
I love cold weather
Ryan,
too.
glad you could make it with us. And Ryan, good to see you guys in there. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I strode in this morning and ran into one of my former students that they hired to work in our IT department. And she was like, "Oh my God, Tanya, where's your coat?" And I'm like, "In the car?"
Yeah.
It was like 21 degrees. And I was like, "Heck yeah, this feels
Awesome.
great."
Well,
It's all a
it is
case of mind
Thursday
over
night.
matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter.
Exactly.
That's true. I'm ready for my bourbon. That's one of the reasons. One of the reasons I look forward to Thursday night, and I'm going to tap into this Elijah Craig barrel proof tonight because this bottle is. I'm down to about a third of what's in there. This will become a dead soldier at one point, and I was talking to Anurag earlier briefly about one of my goals here is to get down to 10 bottles, and there'll be the 10 bottles that I always have on hand. And unfortunately, this won't be one of those 10 because the barrel proof one's not always available to me here. Jeff, you having a drink tonight?
Absolutely.
What you having?
Have me some Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare. I need
I
to
need
get
to
back
get.
on too.
I need to get back out and get me some Heaven Hill. I miss that.
Yeah. I've got a Heaven Hill right there, just
Right
to
there.
the left of my head there on the or to the right, depending on which direction you're seeing me. That's my Heaven Hill bottle. But Heaven Hill is readily available. And that is going to be one of my 10 bottles because it is easy to get. Tanya, have you got a hot coffee going up there?
I do not. I have a cold
Coke, cherry
Coke
Coke
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Russ is having a red wine. Awesome. That's great. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
When I first started drinking bourbon and whiskey, one of the first bottles I bought after I went through the process of learning to taste, which during that process, it was just straight Jack Daniels #7 Black Label. After going through the process of learning to taste through the alcohol, one of the first bottles I bought was Elijah Craig, the regular small batch Elijah Craig. It came highly recommended as a good bourbon at its price point, and the barrel proof is really good too. It's pretty good. This particular bottle is 125.6 proof, which is kind of steep, but this drinks smoother than a typical 125 proof. So anyway, enough about that. Once again, I want to thank everybody who has donated. We had another donation or two last week. It's very helpful. And if you got $1 to spare or $5 to spare to contribute towards the cost of having this live stream every week, here's the information where you can send that along. And like I said last week, I believe I mentioned last week that we've done just enough actually to have a little left over. I've got enough. I've had enough since we started doing this to actually cover the cost of running the live stream, and I'm very appreciative of that. So once again, I thank you, and I'll bring this information back up again a little bit later. It'll be streaming at the bottom of the screen later on. But I haven't had a very productive week of cooking this week. Or Jeff, uh, Tanya, we'll bring you back, and Tanya keeps everything going in the background for us here. I've had a horrible cooking week, Jeff. Have you had a successful cooking week?
Cooking, yes. Baking, no.
Yeah, that's right. You're working on Jeff has opened up the rabbit hole of sourdough bread. So I know where he is because I've been through that already. It's uh it's a it's a chore. It's a learning. There's a learning curve to sourdough, several layers deep. And here, Jeff, the good thing that's going to come out of this on the other side is you're going to learn what dough you're going to have in order for your sourdough to be consistently successful. You have to learn what the dough looks like and feels like as it's proofing,
Yep.
because it's harder to do it by time and temperature with sourdough because of the fact that the amount of yeast that you put in each batch of dough varies a lot more significantly with a sourdough than it does with a commercial yeast. So, but that'll all come, and I'll also recommend to you, and I'll send you a link to it if you can get this inexpensively. Most of the time, these Udemy classes that I've bought, there's a great one out there for sourdough bread that I'll send you. Or have I already shown you that?
You show it to me. You can send it to me again, though.
Man, that's the one that got me over the hump. I found that reading about sourdough and then watching it being done in videos is like night and day. When you got videos that are showing you, it makes a huge difference. All right.
Yep.
Let
Daniel
me get back.
Cohen got his Huntsman today.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome. I'm glad. I got my next level cooking rack system for that today. In fact, I'll try to remember to show a picture of that later on. I've taken it out of the box, but I haven't put it in the grill yet. I took it out and I was outside unpackaging that, and it's just so daggum cold here right now. I just didn't want to stay outside. And I know I'm complaining about cold. It's not as cold here as it is for a lot of people that are probably tuning in, but it's
Well,
23 degrees out there at the moment.
as I told you before the broadcast here, that Nashville must really be getting ready to get nailed because Jim Cantori's in town.
Oh yeah. Well, Stephen will tell us about it if it does. Stephen's
Yeah.
out there, and Mike, glad you could stop by. I hate that you can't stay. So, but what else did you cook besides working on bread this week, Jeff?
Well, I made fruit cakes for next year, for
Oh,
Christmas, for next year and the year after, and probably the year after,
I remember
because
the
they're
pictures.
always better at least a year out.
Yeah,
And made me a big old pot of crawfish gumbo. And
I saw the
since the weather
picture of
was
that
cool,
too.
that's,
That
oh
looked
man,
good.
that is so freaking good. The only bad thing about it is it puts weight on you. So, and here I've been
It
losing
looked
weight, and I put about 2 pounds back on since I've been eating it.
it looked delicious.
It's good.
Well, one of the things I did this week, which I actually did this yesterday, I made a pot of pinto beans, and the reason I did this is because Tanya had made a pot late last week, I believe, and she had had some issues in her process, and I wanted to try it. It's been such a long time since I've made a pot of pinto beans. I wanted to do another one. Let me bring my pictures up here. I just bought. I actually bought a 2 pound bag of pinto beans because I know I want to keep some on hand. But by the I bought the house brand from Food Line. Their Food Line house brand. It's 2 pounds in the bag, so I weighed out a pound of it on my new scale that Santa brought me for Christmas. I'm so happy to have that scale.
I love that scale.
Jeff and I have the same scale now. So, but I weighed out a pound of those guys, and then I just covered them in water. This actually was about. I did this part about 2 o'clock or 2:30 Tuesday afternoon because I knew I wasn't going to cook these until till Wednesday, so Wednesday morning. So I wanted them to have plenty of time to soak. And you can typically soak dried beans like this for 8 to 24 hours, depending on your process. I didn't do the quick soak, which is a quick boil. I didn't mess with that. I just let them soak overnight. And I think my soak ended up being about 16 hours in total. So Wednesday, when I was ready to get started, I got some chicken stock together, and I quartered an onion. I smashed a couple of cloves of garlic. I've got a little chili powder here. I've got a little bit of this is something I've been experimenting with. This is a powdered bouillon called Knorr, Knorr. It's like a seasoned beef bouillon powder. And then I've got a little extra cumin over here, and then a little bit of a Worcestershire sauce. So I just put all that, or I drained my beans. I drained all the water off that I had those soaking in, and put these in my Dutch oven, and then put the onions and garlic in, and then topped it off with the stock and the seasonings that I had. And in the meantime, while that was going on, I had the Kamado Joe fired up to 250. And I really, as you can see, need to dust off my Kamado Joe. This is my clean Joe. It's the one that I don't cook meat in, but it's quite dusty on the outside at the moment. But 250 is not enough to simmer a pot of beans. But what my objective here was is I wanted to get these beans on and let it warm up, and I wanted to just get a little bit of smoke to it during the first couple hours. So I let this go on here. I put that on just like that and let it go. I think we're about 3 hours in right here. At 3 hours, I ramped the temperature up to 325 or so. And then I put the lid on it and let those guys cook. And at the end of the time, I think I was in total somewhere between 5 and 6 hours on this. I had the tenderness and the consistency I wanted in these beans. And I actually had to add a little additional liquid to this because those beans absorbed a majority of the liquid. That chicken stock that I had, I didn't use all of it. I had about maybe 2 cups left behind from the beginning, and I ended up adding that back to it with about an hour and a half to go in this cook. But you can see how it reduced. And the way I like my pinto beans, this sauce that you end up with has a thickness to it. It's not a soupy. Well, it is a little soupy, but it's not watery, if you know what I'm talking about. It's got some thickness to it. And that's one of the areas where Tanya and I differ on that. And we'll talk about that when we bring Tanya back. She likes hers a little different consistency than this, but these were really good. The tenderness on these was fine, but it takes about 5 to 6 hours on a slow simmer, even if you soak these things overnight, to get the bean tender enough, in my opinion. Have you done pinto beans on slow cook before, Jeff?
Not pinto beans. I've done red beans and rice and black beans and rice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a real big pinto.
How long do you cook your beans?
6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because I have ham hocks in them.
You do them in a crock pot or something?
No,
or do you just do them on the smoker?
Just do them on the smoker in a
Yeah.
Dutch oven, just like that.
And there is always the shortcut you can take and do these in a pressure cooker, like in an instant pot, and have them done in an hour probably. I haven't tried that, but I might at some point just to experience that. And this has reignited this process of doing this has reignited my desire to try making some homemade barbecue baked beans from scratch. Normally, when I make barbecue baked beans, I start out with Bush's baked beans as the base, and I would like to make the barbecue baked beans completely from scratch one time. I've never done it, so I bought a bag of the navy beans to try that with. Anthony, you're late. Jeff, Anthony's late.
At least an hour detention.
What are we going to do?
Hour detention.
We'll cut him some slack this time, maybe.
All right, if you insist.
Well, these were delicious. This is one of those things that you can go so many different directions with it. You can put whatever you want in here in terms of seasoning, and I like onions and garlic as my primary seasoning, and I like using a stock once again instead of just water. That's just one of the things I've gotten into the habit of doing, and it suits me. I'm not sure if Tanya would like that one or not. We'll have to have her taste them and see, because I've got some of these that I'm going to be taking to work over the weekend. Probably.
So do you not put any protein in yours?
I didn't in this one, but normally I would like to put in there, like you said earlier, a smoked ham hock. Typically, I can find smoked ham hocks at the grocery store, and they're pretty cheap. And I actually, when I went to get these beans, I looked to see if they had any, and they didn't. So
nope.
The only other option I would have had would have been to put some sausage in it, some smoked sausage or something else.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with ham hocks, but you just don't see them in the store that often.
Right. Well,
even the non-smoked ones.
There's one store that we shop at that always seems to have them every time I look, but I'll check. You could put, I don't know what else you could put in there.
Pulled ham would be real good in there.
Well, the thing I like about ham is it stays together. It doesn't. If you put a piece of smoked chuck or a piece of brisket in there that's smoked, it's going to dissolve and it's going to pulverize in there, and you won't be able to pull it back out if you want to. It's going to be interdispersed with your meat at that point. Bacon, a lot of people will put bacon in there as well. You can just put 4 or 5 slices of uncooked bacon in and extract the flavor from that. Yeah, Anthony, I've done a lot. I've put meat in my barbecue baked beans before, but I've never done it with pintos so much, other than just the ham hock for the flavor add. Yes, Brian, that's a good point. I saw that. Was it today? It was actually yesterday. I bought one. I was gonna throw one on the smoker last night and let it cook into today, and I decided not to. I'm going to save it for the first part of the week, but I bought another. I think it's a 9.8 pounder up there yesterday. But yes, if you have Food Line close to you, this is a good week to buy pork butts. Yeah, Chip, those small ones are fine for this. In fact, the small ones work particularly well when you're working with a 5-quart Dutch oven like I was here. A small one will work fine. But anyway, those were successful. Everything came out. I'm happy with everything that came out in this cook. And typically with pinto beans, I would serve these 2 different ways. I would just put some in a bowl and have cornbread with it, which is what Tanya and I did earlier this week. Or you can serve a scoop of those over a ball of rice as well, just like you could with black beans or red beans or whatever else. These pinto beans do well over rice also. My second cook, which is one I was hoping was going to be my favorite cook of the week, today turned into a disaster. And last week we talked about doing some game day stuff. So I had an idea today, or I had an idea to do something similar to something I saw in a video last week, which is these stuffed puff pastries. And let me show you what we did here, and I'll show you how it fell apart for me in the end. But I took a block of cream cheese and let it soften, and I got a little bit of onion powder, garlic powder, and a little barbecue rub here. And I actually added a little bit of Italian seasoning here on top of that as well. And I just took my fork and got all that combined. And then I grated up a little bit of sharp cheddar cheese, put in there, and got it mixed in as well. And then I just set that off. Ham and Swiss cheese. Just this was some grocery store variety packaged ham that I found on sale, real cheap. And so I bought some of that, and I layered it out. There's 4 slices of ham and 4 slices of cheese on this stack here. That picture's slightly out of order, but that's the eggs for my egg wash. Then I cut these. I cut this stack of ham and cheese into 6 pieces, which you're going to see what we're going to do with that here in a minute. Puff pastry. I got a sheet of puff pastry and rolled it out, and I cut it into some what this picture doesn't show it as well, but this is somewhat square. It's a little bit rectangular, but these last 2 pieces out here on the end are going to be too small and not used. I just made 6 of these. So you take those rectangles and you fold it over itself, and then you take a fork and just mash the edges together to where it'll stay together, or supposedly stay together. And then you open it up and you put your stack of ham and cheese in there, and then put a dollop of that cream cheese mixture on top of it. And you get the rest of them ready, and then you egg wash the outside of them. So what I had done here was I made 6 of these, and I had my grill preheated to 375. I was using the Kamado Joe again today, and I think 375 was probably my first mistake. I probably needed to be up around 400 or 425 with this puff pastry to get it to do what I wanted it to do. But what I did was I took my pizza stone, my Kamado Joe pizza stone, and I cut a round piece of parchment paper to set on it. And I put this together on that pizza stone and then moved the pizza stone to the grill. I didn't let the pizza stone preheat. I just, used it as a cooking sheet rather. And it might have worked better if I had used just a round pizza pan or a metal pizza pan, because I know that stone took a while to get hot once I put it in the grill. And that probably slowed me down a little bit also. And it's showing 350 here, but I was actually running closer to 375 after I had the grill open. And here's what they look like just going in. But these things, they fell over, and my seam where I had fork pressed them together, all those seams came apart, and I didn't get the browning I really had hoped to get on the puff pastry either. So this cook really failed for me, and this is one of the rare times where I'm showing you something that I've never done before. I've never done this. This was something I had seen done, but I've never tried it. So you're going to see it again, because I think there's a lot of value here to making this work. And I think I'm going to make some changes to my process, and I may change the way I'm doing the puff pastry to get a better result.
Suggestion, John.
What's that?
Doing it in a muffin tin.
Well, I've seen that done too, but that's going to make a cup.
Yep.
I don't know.
Basically, the same thing you got there, and you don't have to worry about it falling over or the seams breaking out. And it's going to brown nicely.
I'm not sure how I'm going to get puff pastry stuffed into a muffin tin. That's something I'd have to play with.
It stuffs in there just fine.
Hang on. Yes.
I hate to bother you, but this is the second time in a row that your car alarm is going off.
Okay. Hang on. Is it doing it now?
Yeah.
Hang on, guys.
stop.
Okay. It stopped.
Going now.
Did it stop?
It stopped.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Sorry, guys. Had a little bit of a problem. My keys are in my pocket, and they were pressing up against something, and I had set the panic alert alarm on my car off. And I can't hear it from down here, but Tanya was telling me it was doing it. So, all right, back to the suggestion, Jeff. Muffin tin.
Yep.
Oh, that's an empty
Yes,
set of
sir.
cupcake pans. Same thing.
Same thing.
Ryan, that idea is something I had thought about. I could do that and turn it into something where it's not open. The other thing I could do is get either two sheets of the puff pastry or fold that one puff pastry in half and do one large one and then cut them apart after they come off the grill. Norm, it tasted okay, but when you're looking right here in the picture, these aren't as done as I would like for them to have been. The puff pastry didn't get cooked out like I'd like for it to have. This was just a failed cook on my part. Anurag, yeah, you can do that. I'm not 100% confident that would have held together in this case based on how much stuff I had in there. But I'm gonna play with this again. I will figure something else out. The cups, I don't know. These aren't as big as they look, and a cup and a muffin tin is going to make something that's a good bit larger than this, which is going to be more than a bite or two. I don't know.
Get the mini muffin tins.
Yeah, I don't know if I have. Tanya might have a mini muffin tin, but we'll figure it out. I'll play with this because I want to make this work simply because not just ham and cheese, but there's a lot of directions you can go with this. You could put pulled pork in here, or you could put brisket, or you could put whatever.
With that ham and cheese, I would have put some Grey Poupon or stone ground mustard in there.
When I was looking at this, I saw some people online had done that, and they had used Dijon, and some people had done stuff like this to make like a cheeseburger sort of thing, where they had put mustard and chili and ground beef in it, and pickles. There's just a lot of directions you can go with this, and I think I'd like to find something that works better than what I did here today. But like I said, this turned into what proved to be an experimental cook rather than a something. This is something I would normally never show you guys, so I feel bad about even showing it because this is a failure. This is a failure.
No. It's not a failure. It's not a failure, John. It's a learning experience.
Well, same difference.
It's a learning experience, John.
Well,
no wells. It's a learning experience.
Brian, this is very similar to those barbecue bites I did. It's the same concept, and the barbecue bites held together better because of the way I did it. But the barbecue bites didn't have the cheese in them that this had, and I was afraid if I went that way that the cheese was going to run out of that thing pretty quickly. So, yeah. Let me, while I'm thinking about it, I was going to show you guys the Huntsman. This is the Huntsman next level cooking rack system that arrived here today. I ordered this thing a while back, and I didn't get mine out of the first shipment. Mine ended up coming in the second round, which is shipping out right now. But what it is, it's kind of hard to tell here because I don't have it broken down. this ring that these sit in is a separate piece. There's 2 half moon grills that fit in this ring, and then 2 half moon heat deflectors where you can set up multi-zone cooking. And this goes underneath your regular grill grate, or it can be a top grate that's just closer to your charcoal. And this piece over here on the edge is a holder that mounts onto the base of your grill where you can hold these pieces. It'll hold these pieces when you're not using them. But this one piece, this one ring will just live in the grill all the time. But the heat deflectors and the grill grate pieces may or may not live in the grill all the time. But I may get that installed in the grill tomorrow. And if I do, I'll make pictures of it. We can look at them next week. So that was the end of what I have cooking wise for the week. Yeah, the mini muffin tin. I don't know, that may be too small.
Now, tell you what, you talk about a nice bite size. This is a cool little game day treat. All you do is you take shredded cheese, put it in the bottom, take a little piece of pickle slice, which is what you see in there, the green, and then top it off with more. Put it in the oven or your LSG.
Yeah.
And they come out nice and firm. Oh, they are good eating.
You can make Parmesan crisps in those also.
Yep.
So
that's what they look like when they're done. And no, I don't want to delete that. Looks like that. And like I said, they're nice bite-sized little bits to eat.
I don't think I have anything else worthy of showing cooking wise this week. Oh, I may have told you guys, for those of you that have pellet smokers, if you've got Food Line near you, you need to have a look and see if they've got these. They have these Kingsford brand hickory pellets on closeout for $5 for a 25-pound bag. I went to 5 Food Lines on Friday looking for these, and I ended up getting 5 bags of them. But I also, you can see, of the 5 Food Lines I went to, one of them was $17.99, one of them was $15.99, and this $8 one, I didn't realize it was not hickory until I bought it, but I bought it anyway at $8, and it was pecan. So I've got 5 bags of hickory and 1 bag of pecan. But if you've got a Food Line near you and you got a pellet smoker, have a look and see if you can get those, because that's a bargain that you won't find anywhere else. $5 for 20. Those are 25-pound bags of pellets, so it's well worth.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
And you're not a pellet snob where you have to use a
particular. Nope, I don't have to use fancy pellets. I use the cheapest pellets I can find, and that's pellet.
Wood is wood is wood.
Yeah. I don't believe there's a dime's worth of difference in any pellet out there, and I've used a lot of different pellets before, but I'll take what's cheapest. And currently, that's as cheap as it gets. That's less expensive than the $15 40-pound bags by a good bit, actually.
Okay, going back to your beans, and you said you wanted to make cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody tried this cornbread mix from Lodge?
I haven't.
It's the sweet as honey one. Let me tell you what, that is some good frickin' cornbread.
Tanya made some Jiffy cornbread mix.
Oh, Jiffy is great.
It's the first time I've had it, I believe, and it wasn't bad. It's lighter and fluffier cornbread than I'm used to having. My homemade cornbread's a little denser than that.
This cornbread here, you need to give it a try sometime. It's really, really good stuff.
I'll have to. I don't know if I've seen that anywhere around here.
And I got my new grits in today.
The Adla.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me you were getting those. Let me know how you like them.
Yep, I got 2 pounds of white, 2 pounds of.
You didn't get a package in the mail from me today, did you?
No, I was supposed to, and the mailman didn't deliver any mail today. It was showing up on the things to be delivered today, and I don't know if he got sick or
maybe it'll be.
I didn't get no mail.
Well, I sent you a sample of some of this King Arthur Sir Lancelot flour to try next time you need a strong flour. So let me get Tanya back in here. Tanya, have I got any questions I need to go to?
No, but I'm trying to do this. They, in honor of Jimmy Carter, there was no mail today.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Have they done that in the past?
No.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's like some sort of rule that they have to. I heard about it. So when I was visiting with Jiggly and Juju, I heard about it on the news.
Well,
So
that would explain why you didn't get them today.
market was
Yep.
closed today too.
Yep.
All right. Maybe it'll be there tomorrow. So, have I got any questions, Tanya, that I need to look at?
No, I did not see any questions
No.
other than Anthony asking about, and I'm giggling about this, Jeff and his sourdough.
Yeah, we've already been through that, Anthony. Where you been?
Oh my goodness! Well, that was earlier before. When was it? Anyway,
He's still working on that starter. He'll get it
Yep.
together. He'll get it. I've already threatened to send him some. I can put some in a jar and mail it to him, and it'll be fine. But between here and there, and then he'll be able to get a starter going in no time. And I'll be happy to do that, Jeff. I'll send you a jar of.
I'm gonna keep playing.
Yeah.
It's all a learning experience. And this is the first time that from what I read, and I worked at the post office, and we never had mail suspended for a presidential funeral, other than Carter.
Right.
That's what surprised me. But I knew the stock market was closed because I read about that, but I did not know that they had suspended mail delivery. So that's obviously why.
Brian, I'll talk about that fan when I get it. I think that fan may be here tomorrow. Jeff, does Atlanta Grill Company still send stuff out 2-day priority?
Yeah.
I haven't ordered anything from them in so long. I don't remember. But I might
2-day
have
priority
that
and FedEx both.
Yeah, I might have that fan tomorrow. But I had to order another ambient probe today. I bought a replacement. One of the things I do not like about the Fireboard Pro is the durability of the K-type thermistors that come with it. They're just not as durable as the ones that are on the Fireboard 2 drive. And I've had to replace these things several times at $35 a piece. And I decided this time around I was going to go on Amazon and find a less expensive ambient probe, and I found one for $16 that looked usable. So I bought it and I used it twice. And today when I was using it, it fell apart on me. So I had to get another one. But the last one I had that came from that was an OEM part still works, but the problem on it's the alligator clip on the end is not functioning like it should. The spring's not working in it. So I'll still be able to use it before my new probe comes, but I'll look at that fan. We'll see. I don't know if I like it or not. And the thing is if I don't like it for some reason or another, I'm going to go buy the Pit Viper from Barbecue Guru. I know I like that fan, and that fan makes a better mating to the grill. And this one, I'm probably going to have to use. I may have to use one of their plate adapters with this new fan. I don't know till I get it. It comes with what I need, but part of the problem I had with Fireboard's adapters where you mount the fan on the Kamado grills is how stiff they are. They don't flex. Like you need those things to flex a little bit. And this may have changed since I got mine, but they're too stiff to make a good flex to fit in the curve of that track for your lower heat vent on the Kamado. The ones that came with mine were really stiff, and that you had to really force with them or bend them to get them in there. Now, Scott, I've not had any accuracy problems with them. I've just had reliability problems with them failing on the K type, but I don't have any accuracy issues. They're all, but then again, I've never tested the ambient probes. I've tested the meat probes for accuracy, but I've never tested the ambient. I don't care if my ambient probe's not exactly accurate, because as Jeff will tell you, I don't give a rat's ass about precision temperatures in my grill.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. I
Well,
don't worry
John,
about that.
if you don't like how those adapters fit, draw the end of that fan, trace it on a piece of paper, send it to me, and I'll
Yeah.
make you a metal one that flexes.
Yeah.
Because that's what I made for
Well,
the.
currently the one I've got, I just stuff it in there and then close the lid on it, and that works great. And
Well, I had to
that
make
does
one
not work.
for the kettle
Yeah.
joe.
Yeah,
Because
that doesn't. It's bigger, right?
yeah,
It's the
they
same
didn't,
as the
for
Big Joe.
whatever reason, they didn't make that one bigger than the normal.
Yeah, the Big Joe, you can't get away with that on the Big Joe either, because it's a bigger opening. But yeah, I've ordered that new G3 fan. I ordered it from Atlanta Grill Company. When did I order it? I guess I ordered it yesterday.
Yeah.
They're delicate. Yeah, they are delicate, but the ones that come with the fireboard are rated for higher temperatures than the other probes that they have are, and that's one of the reasons I wanted the Pro, because at the time I wanted to use the Pro to run my Kamado Joe when I was using the Dojo, and I wanted to be able to run it at 650 to 700 without having to worry about damaging the probes. Brian, I've cooked on that thing a few times, but I don't cook on it with any regularity. I've just got it stuffed in the shed.
Sorry. I'm just giggling about stuff in the shed. Y'all should see the shed.
Yeah.
It's an inside joke, right, Tanya?
Yeah.
Well, there's not that much. You should have seen that shed when I moved in here. It's functional now. When I moved in here, it was stuffed full of empty flower pots. And it's like when you open the door, well, there was a riding lawnmower in there too, but besides that, it was stuffed full of empty flower pots. I got rid of all that. Got rid of the riding lawnmower and the empty flower pots. So it's actually usable now. I've got stuff stored out there. So, yeah, Melinda, it's good to see you. I haven't cooked on that grill, but it's still sitting out here. I haven't cooked on it lately. My Eddie Van Halen, that's the
gasser.
Yeah, that's see if I can find my picture of that. I don't have one close by handy here to pull up, but most of you have seen it. It's the gas grill I bought to rehab, and I had to replace a lot of parts in it, but I painted it with the Eddie Van Halen guitar stripes, and because of that, I can't let myself part with it. It's got a cover on it. It's out here, and I use it occasionally, but it's not going anywhere. I had bought that grill to rehab it to give to my sister and brother-in-law, and then after I painted it like that, I couldn't give it away. I got them another one and rehabbed it, and they've got it now. And they're actually building a deck where they've got a good place to run that grill. So, yep. Scott says he likes the Pulse. I don't have the Pulse, and I don't know if I will. I haven't made up my mind. I've got the RFX, and for the most part, I like everything about the RFX. Jeff, you have a fireboard somewhere, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Or do you?
Fireboard too.
The Pulse is out there. The Pulse integrates with it, but I'm a little bit on the fence as to whether I want to spend $150 to get the Pulse and then another $20 to get the antenna thing that mounts on the base to help communicate with that. I just don't know. we'll see. I just don't think it's getting there's enough stuff out there now where it's getting difficult for me to afford all of it. Uh, I got the Fireboard stuff half price because I'm a Fireboard affiliate. I was able to get a discount on that, but I don't get any discount of any kind from Fireboard. Or I got discount on the ThermoPro or the ThermoWorks RFX stuff, not the Fireboard. But I don't get it. I don't have any way to even get any kind of discount on Fireboard. Fireboard never runs a discount. They never have sales. It's always retail. I've never seen their stuff discounted before.
I could analog, name it learning experience. But which would it be? Learning experience one, two, three, four. Learning experience five.
Yeah.
That's the thing that scares me about grilling. Gas,
Yep.
fire.
Tanya doesn't like fire in general, and this is actually why I have a pellet grill these days. When Tanya and I, way back early in my relationship with Kamado Joe, Bobby invited both of us down for a weekend to meet some of the people at the company and do a few things. And on our way home from that trip, we stopped at that mall up in the north end of Georgia. I can't remember what the mall's called, but in that mall, they had a Traeger demo going on. It was like a Traeger roadshow out in the floor of the mall. And Tanya was asking me about that grill. And I showed her, I said, this is something where you don't have to light the fire. All you got to do is dump pellets in that hopper and press this button right here, and the grill starts up, and you dial in the temperature you want. And she says, well, I believe I could cook on that. So that gave me the green light to buy one. So we bought our first pellet grill there. We bought the Traeger, one of the cheapest Traegers they have.
And I cooked on it one time.
No, you cooked on it twice. You
Did
did
I
a
cook on it
meat
twice?
you did a meatloaf on it, and you did a hash brown casserole on it.
No, yeah, well, I thought that was all one cooked, but anyway.
But the it didn't. I'm trying to remember what went wrong that you didn't like. I
Here's
think it
the
took
thing,
longer than you
okay?
expected.
And this would be true of like all grilling and stuff. I don't think I have the personality to be a griller smoker person. Because I'm too anal retentive. Damn it, I want it to be right on that 350. Don't you fluctuate on me. And I want to, we don't like to see it fluctuate.
Are you a measure baiter?
I would be. I would totally would be. And I hear you guys talk about it and giggling, and I know it's like, well, it doesn't make one bit of difference, if it swings this way or swings that way. Anyway, no, because
a 10-degree swing either way on your cook isn't going to make a rat's bit of difference in the
25-degree swing's not going to make a difference.
And John tells me that all the time,
and he's right. It's not going to.
I don't have the personality for that. I don't have the patience for that. By gum, it should be 350. Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. Her oven upstairs.
I was fixing to go there, John.
Well, I don't think.
Like
here's the deal, Jeff. These indoor ovens, and a lot of grills I've seen are doing this too, and they'll never admit to it. But it's in the algorithm. It's once they get to your set temp, it's going to not show you that the temperature's changing.
Yep.
I've seen pellet grills out there that if you set it for 300 degrees, it comes up to 300 degrees and it stays there. The dial says, the display will say 300 degrees, but it's actually doing like this in the grill. Yep.
And I know that it's like doing that. It's just a thing. So John is really good with numbers, and he really likes numbers and stuff. Okay. Like if John can quantify something, he is a happy boy. And I can tell you horror stories or funny stories,
horror
things you'll be
story.
like, oh my God, no way, Tanya. Yes way,
Mm.
totes. But that being said, in my mind, numbers are supposed to be like permanent. They're supposed to be like real stuff. The numbers.
Finite.
Numbers are supposed to, they're supposed to mean something. Damn it, they're not supposed to willy-nilly fluctuate or any of
Well,
these other things. Of course, the more I learn about things in the world, I realize, talking to surveyors, well, those numbers are not exact. I'm like, what do you mean numbers are not exact? What is this not exactness?
well,
And
in our world here, in this grilling community, most of the men, I don't see this with women. There's not that many women in our social media circles for barbecue and grilling, but the ones that are they're never complaining about the temperature. And you'll see guys in our social media forums worried about a grill being defective because the temperatures fluctuating 25 or 30 degrees over and under. That's called a wild temperature swing.
Or it overshoots on startup by 15, 25 degrees, and
or
then it
even
settles
more.
back down. No.
Yeah,
I can't do that. That's bad. That's wrong. It's
yeah,
broken.
right. And it's
And I know that it's not. And I know the deal is that you're supposed to. John tells me all the time you're supposed to cook it until it's done.
yeah,
He's absolutely right. When
I know he's right.
when it's either you're cooking to a temperature, you're at the temperature and it's done, or you're cooking to probe tenderness and probe tenderness.
right.
It doesn't matter.
I think it's my autism. I really do. I think I'm sitting here and going, what do you mean cook it to it's done? Damn it. I want you slap it on there at this temperature. It stays at that temperature, and 5 minutes later you flip it, and then it's done.
Well, that's where I think brisket and pulled pork, you have those camps that go, oh, it's got to be hot and fast. And those camps goes, no, it's got to be low and slow. And you have the other camp that says, somewhere in between is fine. I don't care.
It's all about just getting them food on the table. It doesn't really matter how you get there.
No.
Excuse
the
me.
end result. Was it edible?
It is.
Yes. Did it taste good? Yes. Mission accomplished.
Let me tell you this. Out of all the years I've been doing what I do, and Jeff, you've got to be in this exact same boat. Have you ever sat down at the dinner table and had one of your dinner guests ask you what temperature you cook that
at? Time and tip.
Did any of them ever? If any of them ever asked you what kind of wood did you smoke that with?
Nope.
Have any of them ever asked you about the?
You do on social media, though.
Right. The people that are sitting at your dinner table aren't worried about the things that you're worried about as a cook.
No. The ones that get me is the ones on social media. Give me time and temp. My God, don't ask an open-ended question like that. Time and temp. Okay, what's your ambient outside temperature? How much fat's on your meat? How big is your meat? I mean, I can't give you time and temperature. Cook it till it's done.
It's one of these situations.
Cook it till it's done.
That's the key. That's the key. That's the thing I tell everybody. And this is one of the most important things to learn when you're starting out. The first thing you need to be able to do is know when the meat's done. And that sounds simple, but it's not. That's the hardest part for something, especially a brisket. And because a brisket sends everybody for a loop because it's two different muscles, two different fat contents, and they don't really get ready at the same time. So learning when to pull the meat off the grill. And in the meantime, this same beginner, while they're not 100% confident of when that meat's actually ready, they're getting all this static from everywhere around them that says, you need to do this little trick and that little trick and that little trick.
This hack, that hack.
Their head is so full of tricks that they need to do that they forget about, when is this meat done? When does it need to come off?
Ryan, I'm sure there's a place out there that'll make that T-shirt for you.
Yeah.
Norm, I'm like I'm right there with you. I think that's part of the reasons why I don't like to cook, because there's so much crap that happens that has to happen
Norm,
at the same time.
that's easy. The only thing you're cooking that's gonna have that big window when it might be done is your protein. It's your butt or your brisket. Ribs, we typically know when ribs are going to be done. The thing about the butt and the brisket is you don't need to know exactly when it's going to be done, because you've got a huge buffer and how long you can rest that thing in a cooler when it comes off. You Any butt you cook or any brisket you cook, you've got 6 hours before you absolutely need to worry about it.
Yep.
You can get whenever, if I'm preparing a meal where people are going to sit down at the table and eat, if I was going to serve brisket at that meal, and let's say if I'm planning to eat at 6 p.m., I'm going to probably put my brisket on where in my mind it's going to come off at 1 or 2. That way I can throw it in the cooler, wrap it in a towel, let it sit there for 4 or 5 hours, and it's going to be ready. It's going to be ready to cut, and it's going to be fine. And during that 4 or 5 hours, that's when I can cook everything else that I want to cook. If I want to grill something else, I have the luxury of having multiple grills, so I'm not sharing one grill between multiple cooks. But if I'm going to cook several grilled items at one meal, I can have multiple grills running. But if I only had one, I'd make sure my brisket was off by 2 o'clock, and then I've got 4 hours. I can reconfigure that grill, even if it's a Kamado. People worry about cooling a Kamado down. I can show you some tricks about that too. If you've got a charcoal basket in your Kamado and you've been cooking hot and you want to move to a lower temperature cook, you open up the grill, lift that charcoal basket out and dump that charcoal. Dump it into a bucket or somewhere where it's not going to set your house on fire. Leave the lid open on that grill for 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. Let that grill cool with no charcoal in it, and then go back and start it up again at a lower temperature. That's the easy way. That's the easy way to cool a grill down, for a second cook. But there's a lot of workarounds you can do. You don't have to be bound by your grill. And once again, if you can have multiple grills, that's really a sweet spot.
And not only multiple grills, but like the Kamado, having one with your protein that cook nothing but proteins, and one that you cook nothing but
that's
your
what
vegetables, bread, and whatnot.
I'm blessed.
That's a beautiful situation.
2 Kamado Joe Classics on my patio out here, and that is I'm blessed to have that. That's a beautiful setup. And like Jeff just said, I've got one. I cook meat only on one, and the other one I don't cook any meat on. That way, that grill's always clean. There's no meat residue in that grill that's going to create smoke, that's going to put an off flavor, like on my puff pastries that I was cooking out there today. Or if I wanted to cook a pound cake out there, or an apple pie, or whatever I want to cook on that grill, it's not going to be negatively impacted by smoke from grease that's inside that grill. If you can have a second grill for that, it's good. Yeah, Melinda, we're not short on cats up in here. We lost a cat. Not one of ours. My buddy Rusty. Most of you guys don't know Rusty. Rusty is a stray cat that's been hanging around our house for a few years. And this is Rusty. And I bought Rusty this wonderful little heated cat house for Christmas this year. And we lost Rusty last week. Rusty was not neutered. He was a stray. And I think he had been roaming a little bit, and I hadn't seen him in a few days. And I found him. I saw him sitting in the road on Friday, and I knew something was wrong, and I went and got him and put him in our cat carrier and took him to the vet. And he may have been hit by a car, but his injuries were such that he couldn't make it. So
yeah, he was a sweet boy.
Yeah, I miss him already, because Rusty was my cooking buddy, because this is out on my back deck, that cat house. Rusty was out there when I was cooking. He was my on deck sous chef. And let me tell you, Rusty liked pulled pork. Rusty would hammer down on a piece of pulled pork. But yeah, we miss him. And I decided, Rusty, this several years back, 3 or 4 years back, Tanya and I had 5 or 6 cats coming around here every day, strays. And I decided, we'd put some food out, but Rusty's the only one that kept coming. He out survived all those other cats, and he became kind of our outdoor cat. But I donated that cat.
Knew him. The kids next door, Dot. Everybody knew Rusty.
I donated the heated cat house to the local humane society here in the county I live in. And we decided that we're not going to put any food out. We're not going to put food out anymore. The food not only attracted the cat, but we had raccoons, possums. Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned it, Tanya. I saw a jackrabbit out there for the first time in a long time last week. Wow.
We used to be we had jackrabbits everywhere. Then they
we had them until the cats started coming. And then the rabbit population seemed to wane at that point. So maybe the rabbits will come back. But yeah, that was kind of a bummer to wrap up my week last week, because this was on Friday. I took him to the vet, which I was afraid about. I said, this is going to be an expensive vet visit. But my vet that I use here in town, I told him, I said, this is a stray. I said, this is not one of my cats, but I said, he needs help. And they have some sort of policy up there where they call it a Good Samaritan policy. They did not charge me for that visit. They didn't charge me a dime for bringing him in there. So that was helpful, because that was going to come out of my guitar money.
Hey, John, I have an interesting observation going on here with the Huntsman.
Yeah.
I'm smoking cheese on it right now.
Right.
And all I had was the Huntsman just turned on. I wasn't doing any fan control with it. I had the bottom vent opened all the way and the top vent opened all the way.
Yeah.
The temperature started rising a little bit more than what I wanted it to. Mm-hmm. I went ahead and turned it on and set the temperature to 150, which is the lowest you can have it at.
Right.
The temperature is actually going down.
It will, because it's sucking cold air in.
Yep.
And it's not
so
stoking
for cold
fire.
Smoking, that's a nice little feature.
Yep. I need to get that's another thing that's in my shed is the cold smoker you built for me. I'm going to have to drag that back out here. Tanya, with this cold, I didn't think about this until we were talking about it this afternoon, but this cold weather, I should be cold smoking cheese out here.
Well, that's what Kathy said when we went to the store getting groceries. She said, because we were getting cheese for cottage pie, and she goes, wait, let's not miss this opportunity. You got to smoke some cheese. Yeah. Or your granddaughter's going to be upset.
I do have a block of coastal cheddar.
I'm not smoking that. And let me tell you why I'm not going to smoke that. That cheese is it's a drier cheddar. And I don't like cutting that apart because it flakes. It crumbles. And,
but it tastes so good smoked.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to smoke that block. So, yeah, but we need to get some we need to go to the grocery store over the weekend and buy 8 or 10 pounds of cheeses, and let's get them smoked. I like smoked cheddar. That's one of my favorites, and smoked Gouda.
Yeah, I'm smoking mozzarella, cheddar, and Monterey Jack right now. Monterey Jack is my favorite smoke.
Are you getting a pepper jack or just the plain jack?
Just plain Monterey Jack.
Yeah. Well, and also when I'm buying cheese to smoke, I don't buy expensive cheeses. I just buy the house brand stuff. Yeah. And Walmart, I don't know what the prices are on them now, but Walmart, their great value brands are typically perfect for cold smoking. I usually get some of their extra sharp cheddar, and they typically have Gouda as a block. And I haven't smoked mozzarella.
It's good.
I guess I could. And Andrew says it's good on a pizza. So maybe Tanya, maybe we'll need to get some Mott's, because I'm about ready to fire up the Gosney out here again and do some pizza. So, well,
Yeah, Anthony, I've smoked wood quite a bit, but it just doesn't taste good at the end. Oh, wait, you're talking about using wood to smoke. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right now I'm using the 3 blend, apple, hickory, oak.
I like hickory. But then again, hickory's something I've kind of settled in on, because where I live, hickory's prominent. Hickory wood is hugely native to the area I live in, and I like the hickory aroma. Hickory is one of the more intense smokes, so you have to be careful with how much of it you're using. But hickory's become my go-to. The blends that I buy, like when I buy the Pit Boss blend at Walmart, that's $15 for the 40-pound bag. It's primarily hickory, but it's got oak and pecan or something else in it as well. But that other blend that I get from Rural King, whenever I buy their pellets, has hickory in it as well, but it's not pure hickory. But I've got 125 pounds of the Kingsford. Now that has got hickory in it, but it's not going to be pure hickory. Look at that dog.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, Anthony. I was born and raised in Hickory. That's the name of the town I live in.
John's a city boy.
City boy. Until I moved up here in Burke County.
I dragged him from the big high life city of Hickory to the quaint town of Valdez.
I went from a town of 40,000 people to a town of 5,000 people when I moved up here. But it's only 15 miles up the road.
Yeah, it's not too far.
Smoke High. Is that one of the cold smoke generators, Scott? Is that the one I bought? Is that the stainless steel box that you can attach it to the side of a grill, and it's got you use a torch to light it, and it's got a fish tank air blower that blows that. I think I did have one of those. I don't remember if that's what it was called.
Linda, I'm so with you here. I have a dedicated cheese drawer. It's huge.
The Smoke Eye. That's not exactly what I had. That's not exactly what I had, but let me tell you, the one I had was similar to that, and I had problems with it. And the problem wouldn't exist year-round, but it existed in the warmer weather months. That tube, let me tell you what happens. So if you get one of these, you can compare notes with me. That tube's about, I don't know, a foot tall. When it's burning, when its heat is in the bottom and it's blowing that smoke into whatever you got it connected to, there's still some amount of heat rising up through that tube. That tube's got a cap on top, or it's closed at the top. It creates a condensation in there. And what I was finding is that about half of my tube of pellets was getting wet. And you know how pellets blow up, they explode when they get damp? The upper half of my pellet tube was doing that every time I would run it. So I don't know if you've got that device or have had similar results, but I would only recommend that maybe as people mostly buy those to pump extra smoke into pellet smokers. But I've gotten past that too, because Jeff and I have been fortunate enough to have pellet smokers that don't need any help.
Yeah.
Cheese.
The only help it needs is making sure you fill the hopper with pellets.
Right. So I'm bad about, like today, I was outside today and I fired up my Lone Star just to make it smell nice out there while I was out there working. Just aromatherapy, just running
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he does that
Nothing
all
wrong
the
with that.
time.
Yeah, I may not be cooking, but there's going to be a grill running. So I got it all covered back up though because we're supposedly going to have some frozen precipitation coming through here tomorrow and Saturday. So I don't know what that's going to turn into, but anyway, we're over time and I've been rambling here. Has anybody got anything else for us? Anybody want to talk about anything specific? You got a question or something you want to see or hear or want to have Jeff and I look at? Um, what you got?
Here we go. Bread and milk. Because we got to make those bread and milk sandwiches.
That link that Ryan posted in the
Mm-hmm.
comments,
Mm-hmm.
I've got two different versions of that, and that's what I used for my cold smoke generator.
Mm-hmm.
The amazing, the amazing. I've got the tube, and I've also got the maze. I've got the five. I like the 5x8 maze better than the tube, and the reason is it generates a lot less heat. It creates plenty of smoke for smoking cheese, but it doesn't heat up your container. And guys, once again, I'll tell you this while we're talking about cold smoking cheese. Grills are the worst thing in the world to cold smoke cheese in. Everybody wants to do it in your grill, but grills are designed to hold heat in. And that's not something you want to happen when you cold smoke cheese. If you want to cold smoke cheese successfully, what you really need is a big cardboard box, a big vertical cardboard box that you can set a small table in, cover it up, put your cheese on a rack on the table, cut some big holes in the top of the box and the bottom of the box, and set your pellets in there because this cardboard box is not going to retain heat. It's going to. I don't know, Ryan. I'll have to look when I'm not doing the live stream. I'll send you a link when I get done to what I have. And the maze one actually you can get away with doing it in a Kamado if the weather outside's cool enough. But these temperatures we're having right now, it's been in the teens overnight, and that can actually be too cold for cold smoking cheese. If you start one of those and decide to leave it out there all night, your cheese might be frozen when you come out in the morning, and that you don't want that to happen. So cheese cannot survive being frozen.
I don't think
That
I
I'm
have that to
aware
worry
of.
about tonight.
Yeah, well, no, freezing temperatures don't. Does it ever get to freezing in Orlando, Jeff?
Oh yeah,
Have you seen
yeah.
32
We've had
degrees?
snow.
You've had snow in Orlando?
Yeah, I've lived here since '68, and since '68 we've had snow 3 times. Once it really laid on the ground and stayed there for the biggest part of the day.
Yeah, Scott's saying the maze works great. And Ryan, that's the one I would recommend by that same company, that amazing smoker. Get the 5x8 maze. That's the one. That's the one I'm going to recommend.
Well, see, on my tube, when I do it, John, I only
Mhm.
fill it up halfway. I get it lit at the top, and then I take
Yeah,
and I turn it sideways, and I just kind of shake it a little bit, so you have just a thin layer. So it works kind of
right.
like the maze, and it does really good.
Yeah.
It's enough
And
to, I
Brewster,
mean, because you don't
Brewster,
need
I
an
am really
8 hour
happy
smoke.
with that. Right. You don't need much. Brewster, I am very happy with the RFX. I've, I've had a good bit of time to play with it. There's one quirky thing about it that's kind of weird, but beyond that, I think it's great. I'm going to enjoy using that. I really am, and I did let it fall. I did let it find its way onto my really right stuff list. There's just this one setting you have to change in it from its defaults to make it great, and it is great once you make that setting change. Uh,
Boy, the cats are,
Yeah, that's what I'm giggling about. Meryl is having I think she is ready for her flake, her evening snack. Because, we have a
ah,
little tuck in before bedtime
yeah,
in hopes that it will help keep their little tummies full and that they won't come and start trying to wake us up at 3 a.m.
Yep. And Melinda, you're going to have to let me know next time you're in this neck of the woods. We'll hook up. So, yeah, Melinda is she's a second cousin, I believe. Technically, her mother is my cousin. So that's how that works out. Lynn, her mother Lynn is my cousin. It's my mother's brother's daughter is her mother. So yeah. And Melinda, yeah, if you don't have a pellet smoker, you need to just go ahead and get one. And when you get something, you can call me, and I'll get you started on it. I'll have you amazing your friends and family in a heartbeat. You get a pellet smoker, get a Traeger. Traeger, nothing wrong with Traeger. Nothing wrong with Traegers at all. And she said she wanted a Blackstone also, get a griddle. I've had more fun cooking on my Traeger. Melinda, I have the Traeger griddle. Traeger introduced a griddle a while back, and that's the griddle I bought. And man, I love cooking on that thing.
I think she's downstairs now.
Where did she come? I got a cat down here. Meryl has come to visit me. She's our adopted senior cat. She's 3 years older than the rest of our cats, but she's decided to come down here and
she's our little diva. She's
Yeah.
beautiful and she knows it.
50. Melinda's turning 50. Well, that's
the big 50.
Yep. I wish I could turn 50 again.
Yeah.
Boy, that bridge is long been over.
I think I forgot how old I'm going to be on my next birthday.
Well, John, you have a ways to go to catch up to me, dude.
I think you're going to be like 57, John. I think.
I'm having my midlife crisis right now, Jeff. A little late, but I'm having it.
You're only 12 years younger than me.
That's why I'm going to Nashville at the end of the month to buy that new guitar. Buy my bucket list guitar.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Hey, when I was 50, I bought my Harley, so
Yep. I'm not buying a Harley, but I'm buying my bucket list guitar. Thanks to Tanya and my mom. Tanya and my mom put me over the top. I've been saving money for a while to get this guitar, and Tanya and my mom put me over the top on that at Christmas. So I have all the money I need. We're going to Nashville the end of the month where I can buy this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's getting up there.
Yeah.
Much better than a sports car.
What, the Harley or the guitar?
I don't need a sports car, Ryan. You're right. I don't. I'm quite happy with my Subaru. I turned over 170,000 miles on that car last week, and I
got 30,000 on mine.
Yeah. Well, mine's 7 years old now. I put a lot of miles on mine, and
mine's only 1 year old.
With me. Yeah.
Of course, who am I to talk? Tanya's the mile king there.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. We'll be back next week, and I'm going to try to do something else next week that's game day oriented. Since we'll try to work on some game day oriented, tailgating oriented stuff to run all the way up through the Super Bowl. How's that sound, Jeff? That'll be some fun stuff to do.
Good.
All right. So y'all have a good week. I appreciate you hanging out with us. And until next time.